Before the video starts, I would just like to say that I have not done my breakout and I am just recording this video first. Anyways, hello everyone, welcome to this new video. Of course, like I promised, today we're going to be talking about treasure sets. Of course, in this game, there are a lot of treasures that exist for ranging with a lot of types of categories instead of just epics, rares, and legendaries. Usually we classify them in good set. But first of all, let's talk about the types. Rare treasures. Just ignore them. Usually we don't use them. They're the worst types of treasures. Of course, the classes. There's only like some great ones, like I don't know, like Resurrection Egg, Destruction Cane Staff. But basically just don't ignore them. Like okay, so let us talk to the first class of treasures. These are called dependent or situational treasures. These dependent treasures are usually it's something to depend on. Of course, as its name called the dependent treasures. The dependent treasures are mainly common to have the dependence is usually coins, which is shown in the iron microchip. Bear jellies, which is shown by a lot because we have a lot, like the bear medallion, the snuggly bear, the bean, the fashionista spotlight. We have destruction treasures, which is known by cheese pickaxe and the staff. And also earlier we know over here this jelly first. Jelly is important, and finally we have one which is related to distance, which is usually only for cookies which goes through a far distance. Of course, there are even more types of class of situational. Let us talk about these ones now. Another situational type is like the Aurora Flask or Turbo Engine, because these two types of treasures actually give some distance. Sometimes you really do need the distance, so that's why we actually use them. So those are important. And mainly the final class is usually Resurrection Egg and Winged Out Jelly of Resurrection, because sometimes we actually do need this energy to get the final ability. So I would like to say that this is somewhat dependent, and of course that's it on the dependent side. Now let us just go for the main scoring treasures. So let us go to the next class of treasures, which is of course is gonna be just basic scoring treasures. First of all, you see this legendary treasure, just ignore it. We're not gonna be talking about it ever. Treasures are too broken, and you should use them if you have it maxed. Otherwise, just ignore them, because of course epic treasures is way more easier and it's the way to go. Alright. So now let us talk a little bit on the scoring treasures. There are a lot of types of scoring treasures, as you can see. It ranges from Magma Pendulum, Candy Shoe Clown, Cherry Pom Poms. If I were to talk all about it, it's going to be a long day. So all of these things have a little bit of a different timing. For example, on the Mirror of Malice, hold on, let me use my mathematics on this one. Darkstone Jellies appear in 5 seconds. Basically, for every 25 seconds, you'll get a Mirror of Malice activation, right? But as you can see, sometimes the run is not that long. Now, this is something that we should keep in mind out. For example, if our run is a long run, for example, let us say that we are using for trophyrace. Sorry about that. On trophyrace, we see that a lot of people. Okay, sorry, that's not a good case. Funfield Cookierun. Lechi Dragon and Fire Spirit are both legendaries. Fire Spirit stops the energy drain, and the Lechi Eye gives energy. This will lead to a very long run, meaning the reason why they use Cherry Pom Poms is because of the activation time being the longest in the entire game, I think. We don't really count the legendary treasure because the first activation is only like 40. That's it. It doesn't really matter. But Cherry Pom Poms is the longest one in the game for about 6 million points. We don't technically need to understand the mathematics, but what I'm saying is that sometimes you just need to know is your run going to be a long run? Sometimes you need to understand this so that you can actually get the final abilities of this. And that's basically it for choosing it. Couple things that I would like to mention is that there are some scoring treasures which also depends a little bit on situations. As Mirror of Malice has some extra points which is created. Maybe it's not told here. Over here, like I said, as you can see over here, press the I. They will teach you a lot more. Sometimes they don't teach enough. So there's like here. Wait. Oh yeah, I forgot about treasure bonuses. I'll talk about that later because later I have a special tip from a friend of mine. All right. So let's just recap on what we actually learned today. There are different types of treasures categorized in dependent and non-dependent. Sometimes dependent, you need something to activate it. For example, it could be a power jelly. It could be bear jellies, the jellies itself, destruction. There, for the non-dependent side, we actually have categorized in different ways. For example, sometimes if you want a longer run, or if you have a longer run, you use the one that has the long activation. But sometimes if you have weak run, you use the one which actually activates more frequent. Sometimes it's very important to read into the information just in case sometimes, so you can actually get more information on what the treasure does. Treasures first. Of course, the bonus points you sometimes get more score, of course. But there is one thing that I would like to say. Sometimes it may be good, sometimes it's not good. Sometimes it could be worth it to use it, but sometimes you just don't actually need it, and there are more treasures. For example, let's just say that there's a new cookie, but then their bonus treasure is like so old and it didn't get buffed. It's sometimes not worth it to do that, and it's more better for you to just use the more recent treasures rather than that. And yeah, it's basically gonna make your run a little bit better rather than synergizing but making it worse. All right, it's been a while for me that I hadn't read this yet. I asked them for a while, so I did ask them like this question. I wanted to ask about what treasure set stuff, like about map. This I'm just reading basically what I said. And this one, for high scoring treasures which are non-dependent, do you got a clue on how to choose for a good set and when to use bonus treasure, point bonus? Okay. So let's read number 1 first. For high scoring treasure, it depends on the arena that you're running at. I can't tell you because you actually do need to do trial and error to find a good treasure set. Of course, it shows there. So it means no matter what, you do have to do trial and error for the highest set. For like, maybe if you want to just go for a high score, you can just use the highest scoring combination. But if you want to be the best of the best, sometimes you have to try it out and mix and match. And let us go on what he said. Obviously, new treasure of buff will always be a good meta. Not only it depends on the arena, but the combo as well. Over here, let's scroll down a little bit. For example, popping candy in Fragrant Little's Paradise. He has a long duration for his run. Then the best treasure is Pill. Cookie Mills has a lot of basic jellies in the stage. The best treasure is the frozen cake. That's it. You do need to do trial and error for the treasure, and it takes so much time. I mean, this is why pros usually have a lot of patience. They take so much time to basically get the best set for us and basically get in the top. All right, the question for the bonus treasure. This is what they said. Sometimes bonus treasure point is not always good. For this question, it really depends on the arena. Example, Herb Cookie in Fragrant Little's Paradise. The stage has so much pink bear jellies, then he needs the rambutan. Then he needs to use the rambutan even though the bonus treasure pairs with rambutan. We can't use flowering can because it's not good in that kind of stage, even though her bonus treasure. So in this one really depends on the arena. So what they said is that sometimes the bonus treasure is not really that needed if there's a dependent treasure, which is also more important to be used in the specific arena itself. Sometimes it is way better to just use the actual treasure, which was going to synergize well in the map and the combination itself. Anyways, that's all for today. Thanks a lot for Sinister Velks for helping with this thing. And I really do hope that you all have a nice day. And yeah, that's basically it. Hope these things help. If you have any questions, leave it in the description below. And yeah, enjoy your day.